The institution's innovation cell, Royal Global University. The Assam Royal Global University is popularly known as RGU. Is spread over a sprawling campus of 27 acres of land, and it provides 130 plus graduate and undergraduate programs along with PhD. With the sole objective of providing education and knowledge amongst the masses in Northeast India, Royal Global University was established in the year 2017. And with God's grace, every year we are increasing in size so as to serve the community. We provide courses in various disciplines covering management, language, law, fine arts, pure sciences, biosciences, life sciences, and commerce, to name a few. Now, let me introduce Royal Global University's Institutions Innovation Council. It was initiated in the year 2019, and since then, there was no looking back. Under the able leadership of the prime contributors, to name a few, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Royal Global University, Professor Dr. S.P. Singh, our respected Chairperson Academics, Alok Kumar Buragohai sir, our Coordinator IIC, Dr. Hirak Ranjan Das sir, and all the active members of IIC has organized a number of events, activities, talk shows to create awareness about entrepreneurial activities and ignite innovative and creative mindset among students, teachers, and all the stakeholders of Royal Global University. Royal IIC is also all set to start its incubation center for promoting budding entrepreneurs. So this is a short but an impactful journey undertaken by Royal IIC till date. Now, I would like to invite respected Chairperson Academics, Professor Dr. Alok Kumar Buragohai sir, for a welcome address. But before that, I would like to read sir's brief profile. Sir had his early education in Shillong and was amongst the first batch of graduates from Northeastern Hill University. He obtained his postgraduate degree from Guwahati University and PhD from Imperial College of Science, Technology and Medicine under the University of London in plant molecular biology and DIC in plant virology from Imperial College of Science, Technology and Medicine. Sir was the founder head of the Department of Molecular Biology and Biotechnology at Tezpur University, a central university in Assam. Sir was also the founder of the ONGC-sponsored Center of Petroleum and Biotechnology in the same university. Professor Buragohai has over 4 decades of rich experience in research and teaching. During the last 10 years, Professor Buragohai had stints in academic governance, first as the Registrar of Tezpur University and then as the Vice Chancellor of Dibrugarh University for full terms of 5 years in both the positions before joining the Assam Royal Global University as Chairperson Academics. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Aruna. Thank you for your kind introduction. A very warm welcome and a very good morning to all the participants for this first lecture of the Impact Series under the IIC, Institutions Innovation Council of Royal Global University. We are very privileged to have this morning with us 2 distinguished speakers, Mr. Manoj Das from NETFI and Mr. Biswajit Hazarika, who is a very eminent established entrepreneur of the Northeast India. As has been already briefly mentioned in the introductory remark by Dr. Aruna Debroy, that Institutions Innovation Council is a national initiative under the aegis of the then Ministry of Human Resource Development and now the Ministry of Education. It's a national initiative, and under this initiative, higher education institutions are encouraged and enabled to have their own centers to promote innovation, entrepreneurship, and also create awareness about intellectual property rights among the young students and the young faculty members. Since our Institutions Innovation Council was formed about a year and a half ago at the Royal Global University. We have been undertaking regularly different kinds of activities, programs. In spite of the disruptive COVID, we continued our programs online and also offline in between, and where we have organized very close interactions, dialogue, and brainstorming with successful entrepreneurs, IPR experts of the country, and also successful entrepreneurs of the region and the country. This particular program, the Impact Series lectures organized by the IIC under the aegis of the Ministry of Education again, has been possible only because of our track record of the past 1.5 years, where we have been awarded the 2-star category. I think the highest category is 5-star, and we are at 2-star now. And there was a huge competition among the higher education institutions for selection for selection for these Impact Series lectures. So I understand that out of the entire Northeastern University's higher education institutions, only 5 have been selected, and we are one of those. And again, to the best of my knowledge, I think we are the only private university to have been selected. So I congratulate my colleagues for their hard work, especially Dr. Hirakranjan Das, Dr. Shankar Burman, Dr. Aruna Debroy, and many others who are there in the team, Dr. Stuti Goswami. We are working, and the basic objective of this Impact Series lectures, if I may say, is basically to create awareness and create sensitization amongst the young students for innovations, because they have tremendous imaginative and innovative capacities, young people. So we have to harness this potential. So therefore, they have to be made aware about the importance of innovation and what is innovation, and then they will get excited. And once they are excited, we have nothing to do. They will be on their own. But that is the most important thing. Make them innovative. They are already innovative. We have to create an ecosystem so that they can work hard. The second point is, after the innovation involves research. And after research and innovation, some product or some designs or a range of possibilities are there, including services possible, on the strength of these innovations, students should be enabled to develop their own enterprises, what we call it the startups. Now that will require money, and there is also possibilities that if the innovation is good, we can connect them to venture capitalists, angel investors, and so on and so forth. It all depending on the quality of the innovation and the market potentials. Now, the most important thing that is lacking and wanting is that while most of the students and youngsters or faculties are very, very creative and innovative in their own domains, and they are able to develop their own products, but the point is they have no knowledge or no idea as to how to take these products to the market. That market linkage requires a different kind of skill set, different kinds of information, different kinds of knowledge. So for that, we have to enable them to develop their own startups. And that is why ISCs are being formed. And as Dr. Aruna has just mentioned, that apart from the Institutions Innovation Council at Royal Global University, we are very soon, I think another 1 week's time, we'll be ready with our own incubation, our own incubator, Royal Incubator, as we call it. And already one young alumnus of the engineering school of this university, he had set up his own company, Hipar Enterprise. We have taken him under our fold, under our wings, and we have signed an MOU with his Hipar organization, which is basically a service provider, networking, and all that. And he is given some space and support. He's the first incubatee in our Royal Incubation Center. So we are opening up doors for other younger entrepreneurs as well. Now, after enabling them with the startup, we have to make them aware about how to protect their intellectual property, because in every innovation is an intellectual property. Now there are a range of property rights under the national and international regimes, right from patents to copyrights to trademark and so on and so forth. So we have to also make young entrepreneurs, young innovators aware about their rights, their intellectual property rights. So taking into account all these things, how to stimulate the innovators, how to enable them to begin their own ventures, startups, and how to make them aware and enable them to protect their intellectual property rights. These are the three basic fundamental objectives with which this Impact Series lectures are organized. Today, we are very fortunate to have my good old friend, Dr. Manoj Das, who is right now the DGM and the head of the advisory and consultancy division of the NetFee, based in Guwahati headquarters. And he is also additional charge of managing director of the Northeastern Regional Agriculture Marketing Corporation Limited. He has extensive experience in organizing, enabling startups in the entire Northeastern region over the last few decades. And we are very fortunate to have you, Dr. Das, and we welcome you once again to this Impact Series lectures. We are also very fortunate and privileged to have a very dynamic young entrepreneur, Mr. Biswajit Hazarika, who had started his enterprise, the startup, as we call it, Trans Visual Private Limited. He established this way back in 2002. And for the last nearly 20 years, he has been steadily walking and expanding his market and his business very successfully, catering to the needs of the IT, telecom, cybersecurity, forensic, etc., etc. So we are very privileged to have you, and I welcome you on my personal behalf and on behalf of the Assam Royal Global University, Dr. Hazarika. I think we all look forward to listening to you. I think first of all, Dr. Manoj Das will have the deliberations, and the second session is all for you. And I would request all my colleagues and the student participants to feel absolutely free and have a very free dialogue and interaction with our esteemed speakers, because they have tons of experience, and we can gain enormously from their experience and exposure. And once again, I welcome you. Now over to Dr. Aruna, please.
Thank you, sir, for encouraging words. Now we have with us our first speaker for the session, respected Manoj Kumar Das, sir, DGM and Head, Advisory and Consultancy, NetFee, and former Director, IIE, Guwahati. Before handing over the session to sir, I would like to formally introduce sir to today's August gathering, who are from various states of the country. Manoj K. Das sir pursued his graduation and post-graduation degree from Saurashtra University, Gujarat and Punjab University, Chandigarh, respectively, before joining as DGM and Head, Advisory and Consultancy, NetFee, and simultaneously also in charge of Northeastern Regional Agricultural Marketing Corporation Limited as the Managing Director. Sir served as the Director of Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, Guwahati, and many more private companies of big names like L&T, Hero Honda Motors Limited, Mudra Communications, NetFee, to name a few. Sir possesses a rich experience of 33 years in entrepreneurship, management, and skill development. With this rich experience of more than 3 decades, sir worked generously to contribute his services for reviving Neramac. Significant development in NetFee and IIE were also noticed during his tenure. Sir is currently pursuing his doctorate in entrepreneurship management also. Sir did quit his cozy, highly paid job in Hero Honda to become an entrepreneur at a very tender age, but could not succeed due to the non-conducive ecosystem prevailing then. Thus, Sir tasted failure in his entrepreneurial career, but has emerged as a mentor for many people in the society. Mr. Das' motto in life has been to touch as many people's life as possible and mentor in whichever way possible to assure guaranteed success in his or her career. This is just a brief introduction about Sir. All we can say in nutshell about Sir is that a humble, golden-hearted personality who believes in the quote, hard work is the key to success. Over to you, Manoj K. Das, sir.
Thank you, Aruna, for the lovely introduction. Alok Bargohain, sir, then faculty members and dear participants. Actually, I am currently traveling to Shillong, so right now I speak from car. If there is any disturbance, please excuse. Today's topic was very, very interesting to me and close to my heart. That's why I accepted that despite my travel. Of late, we have seen a huge surge of innovation-led startups in the country, and Assam is also not being left behind. And I have personally mentored quite a few startups and also helped them design new devices, mostly in the renewable energy sector like solar dryers, then grain dryer we have developed one, then electric smoker. Also with Royal Global University, I'm with Hirat. We are developing something that we'll be showing, I think, very soon. So it was a tragedy that in last 60 years, our education was mostly, what do I say? It was testing of the memory and also just reproducing what is written in the textbooks. It was not problems solving oriented, and hence we have produced hordes of graduates which are not actually employable and which did not have the entrepreneurial zeal, actually, the drive. They were mostly seeking jobs and wanted to be ensconced in secure government pensionable jobs. And even the family also, first priority is, okay, you try for a government job. Then after that, if you do not succeed, then we'll do something. So that's something like in Assami, they call kibata koripo kujisu. So that kiba thing, that something doesn't really exist. It has to be self-driven, and it has to come from the core of the personality and his knowledge. So with the current government's emphasis on Skill India mission in then startup India, then stand up India, also setting up a separate fund for this startup. Like now we have a 945 crore seed fund that can be availed by startups. So all these facilities have started, and in our region, we have all the universities having some startup initiative. Your IIC is one, like in Downtown University also they have. In almost all I have seen. And quite a few, students now taking up startup venture as their profession or passion. And I think we can cite quite a few examples who are doing well. But one thing I must tell you that the failure rate in startup is quite high. Like if there are about 10 startup, then only maybe 2 or 3 will succeed. And that 2 or 3 has to generate the funds invested by venture capitalists for paying the backlog of others. But I think it's worth it. And also those who fail, they also do something in some part of their life because they are well experienced in the process of setting up ventures. Only maybe their product was wrong or it was not really practical or not accepted in the market. So I have also seen many startups coming up with ideas like they think that, okay, they will design an app, somebody will produce something, they will sell it through the app, somebody will buy it and they will make money. That's not actually idea of startups. And that's how it fails. And actually, if I have to say what is a startup, I think it's It's an idea that whose time has come. So you have to be idea-led, and there has to be some component of problem something somewhere which is beneficial to the society. And at the same time, the ventures that we take up should be scalable. And that is when this all our seed capital funding or I mean other startup funding that follows venture capitalists. So when you say about this startup, then there is again another definition. It is the venture where intangible asset is financed by the venture capitals. So there should be an intangible asset component in the venture. Apart from the tangible one, or sometimes you don't even need much of tangible, like say startups like Uber or maybe Swiggy we have, and Amazon, then Flipkart. They do not own anything. They are led by technology, and it's quite disruptive. Now, I think by 2030, the online e-commerce trade will be more than $50+ billion. And even now, I mean, so much of purchasing we are doing through e-commerce. So these were all disruptive technologies, startups that has become very big over time, and they have disrupted the traditional way of doing business. So if anybody is thinking of something, then it should be possibly disruptive, or otherwise it should be innovative so that it replaces something that is happening already or something going on in the traditional sphere, so that you get new business, new customer, then new products or new services, which is again taken up by people. Like in Guwahati city, earlier if you have to find a plumber or electrician or a carpenter, it was a big task. And he will also not give you on time, or he'll not come on time. Now we have, say, one such service provider called Urban Club. That is again a startup. And now Urban Club, you just download the app, and once log on and register your requirement, they will come and do free checking. Other day I was trying to repair my ACs, which are about 7-year-old, of course. They just checked, spent about 3 hours and charged nothing. They said only once we do repair, then we'll charge. So this kind of convenience of service, also economy to customers, basically saving the time. And almost all these kind of technology startups, they save our time. Now, we are talking about entrepreneurship since I was director of Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship for about 3.5 years. And mostly it is relates to Northeastern region. And then I found that what lacks in our Northeast, this entrepreneurship is basically, firstly, I said about our mentality of, job seeking. And secondly, lack of taking, uh, risk-taking abilities. We do not know how, we are very scared of going out of our comfort zone and taking risk. But I don't say that you should take a risk just like jump into something. The entrepreneur takes a calculated risk. He knows what's going to happen when he takes the risk. So there are three situations in our life. One is a certain, like we are born, so we'll die one day. There is morning and there will be evening. That is certain. Then second is uncertain. Uncertain situation is maybe there will be an earthquake today, or maybe something. But that is not certain. We cannot say it's going to happen, or we cannot really predict. There is uncertain. Maybe while walking, a packet of money may fall from the sky. That you cannot really imagine. Predict. So there is uncertain. But there is a situation called risk. And the risk situation is when you know the probability of something happening. Like today, what is the chance of having rain? And if we have last 100 years meteorological data, then we know that, okay, today there is a chance of having rain is today about 65%. But the same thing we cannot, like in the month of maybe first week of November, it will come down maybe 20%. So that is the time when we have our festivals and other things. because there is less chance of having rain or other natural calamities. So that is a risk calculation situation where we know how the probability of something happening and to what percentage it happens. So even if we start something, then we must know what is the success of your probability of your success, and that is a risk situation, and that is how we invest. And one must know any idea what is the chance of having its acceptance in the market or making a success, and what it's going to replace and how it will react in the market, and how many people will come. So we need to do a survey, market survey of our ideas before we jump down on anything. And topmost thing is we must have something called need, achievement, motivation. There should be a motivation to achieve something, and that should come from within. And that is the prime and foremost quality or parameter of an entrepreneur. And that drives an entrepreneurship from success to success, because it's not money or something other, but it's his hunger for success. That's the driving force. And it's not how much money he made. Like Mukesh Ambani, he doesn't require any more money, but then he is creating enterprises one after another. Just for his drive for achieving more success in life. So this success-driven need, achievement, motivation is the main force that drives an entrepreneur. And there are many other qualities, and he has to be he's one of the best persons in the society. He's creditworthy, he's honest, he's trustworthy. He has all the capacity to mobilize resources, and he is very hardworking. He must be healthy also. So these are all good things that we need in an entrepreneur. And innovation, we all know innovation can be on anything that's around us. And we have to find a problem and find a solution or discover something. And that's innovation, innovate. And innovation is something which was not there yesterday, but is there today. It's because of you. So that's where your innovator comes. And there is a component of uh, idea that is applied on something already happening, and we improve the system. And that is where we'll be getting, efficiency in the society, efficiency in the market, efficiency in the product, better product, and efficiency in the services. So this is what innovation is. And all innovations are actually, there are actually IPR, sir was mentioning intellectual property rights. So to me, there are quite a few. The one is basic at the community level, that is GI, geographical indication. There is a communities I would like to share you my corporation, Northeastern Regional Agriculture Marketing Corporation. We have now 13 GIs in Northeastern region and another 7 in the pipeline. So these GI geographical indications are basically granted to products that has been grown by the community for hundreds of years. Say black rice of Manipur, it's called chakao. We have this GI for chakao, then we have for bhut jalakia here, and like another last in August we got one GI for dale khursadi. This is chili grown in Sikkim area. Sikkim and Darjeeling area, and is used for making those hot spice that sauce for momos, red hot. That is called dale khursani. So, and it is granted to that particular area, and the community can derive benefit out of this particular commodity by making newer products. Say for bhut jalakia, we are making, bhut jalakia spray, bhut jalakia grenades, bhut jalakia, many other things we make. But there are application in this, and other communities cannot claim. So that benefit goes back to the community. Then suppose you design something that is for patent, a process, a patent, then design patent. Then copyrights we have, say for a logo, say Coca-Cola logo. And nobody can just use it. Like Red Cross logo earlier, doctors were using, now it is being banned. So this is also another sort of intellectual property right. Somebody has designed it and it belongs to that particular person or that particular organization. So in this way, we have this, this needs to be actually registered. There is a system of registering it, and we must all find patents wherever possible. And I think government also gives assistance. And your university can also have a fund so that students are encouraged to file patents. It's not that all patents, all filings will get patent award, but then one should start. So let's make a practice. And regarding startup funds, we have now like Assam Nest, then Nite Hub in Assam Agriculture University. These are government funded. Then we have at Northeast Venture Capital Fund in NetFee, 100 crore fund. Then there is one, I think RUTEC, IIT Guwahati is having. Also, Government of India has this GPIIT government startup fund. That is about 945 crore seed capital funding we can get. Then we had Northeast Center for Technology Assessment and Reach, Nectar. That is again funded. Then there are TDP, Technology Development. So such side. I know 3 boys who started a company for making bricks using, I think they use about 5% of waste plastic. And now their product is selling very well. They got funding from NetFee Venture Capital Fund. They're setting up a big factory in Pachala. They are hardly 26-year-old and already going to be quite rich after some time, and their products are accepted. So with these words, I conclude here, and I'm available for questions. If you have any, I hope I covered all the points that were given to me, and in some other time, maybe when things are normal, we'll have a physical talk and discussion in Royal Culture. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are now open for questions. Participants can post their questions in the Q&A section. We are open for questions and participants can post their queries, doubts, any clarification you want, you're engaged in any entrepreneurial venture, you need any help. I mean, sir is here. You can get it, get his good words and suggestions as well.
Madam, I have a question to Monish Das.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, good morning. So he's mute, I think.
Manoj Kedas, sir, you're muted. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So can you repeat the question again, please?
I'm not. It's a good morning, Monish Das. So this is Biswajit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah. So you have told about various products like for Manipur, black rice, and many other places, the Sili and all. So what I thought of, like, I mean, as an entrepreneur, we are getting to various ventures. So we have diversified already our transversal so into various fields now. So we thought of like, can we have a database kind of a thing, which place, which product, and which we can actually have a value addition. So we can get value out of that product. So if we get those kind of data, because these data are scattered, like, I mean, we go to Epida, we go to NetFee, we go to some other places, then we come to know that the database, some amount of data we are getting there, some amount of data is there. So we need a data and location-based ideas if we get for the Northeast. It will be, as an entrepreneur, it will be easy for us to understand, study, and do research and go ahead with a commercial activity.
Okay, actually, there is no compendium of ideas. You will have to go and say, for example, I went to DRDO lab in Tezpur. They done
Yes.
so many things, and these are not compiled actually. Like from Bhutjalika they have developed. Then in Tezpur University, other day I was talking to one of their head, Mr. Lakshmikant, and they have developed, like a continuous jaggery making machine for making gur continuously. And those are, I think we can take up. Then CFTRI Thanjavur, they developed one technology to preserve cane juice. We all love to have cane juice, but this roadside cane juice wala, we are really scared of, And so this cane juice can be preserved and bottled and marketed. I have seen in Hong Kong, it's so huge success there. So I think somebody maybe as an academic institution, your IIC, Royal Colombian University can take the initiative of writing to them, all these institutions, and get the currently developed products or also products in the pipeline. And from Neramax side, I can give, and NetFee also can give. Or we are not research institutions. NetFee, Neramax, we are financial institutions or marketing organization. We'll have to write to all those different universities. Then research institutions like NEIST has also a huge list of products developed by them. Then Guwahati University, different departments, even in universities also, you'll not find in one place. Like biotechnology, they have something developed, then some other departments have developed something. So I think somebody has to take the task of compiling it. Or
Yes.
maybe we
My
can give a proposal to Northeastern Council to make a compendium of ideas, startup ideas or other useful things for Northeast, and that can be done.
So it can be handy so that it will save a lot of time for entrepreneur.
And I think it should be uploaded in a website so that everybody can access it.
Yeah. So there.
Sometimes we go for printing version and print 1,000 copies and lying somebody in shelf, so not useful.
Yeah, in NetFee being a financial institution is also development organizations for Northeast. So I feel like NetFee used to have a database earlier. So can it be updated regularly so that one can access that?
See, we are now developing one portal called SAREC, Strategic State-of-the-Art Resource Center for Employment, Education, and Entrepreneurship. I think there under that we are going to have this. This will be there. It will be launched in the month of October, and it's sponsored by Northeastern Council. So just to you can write a letter to Secretary Northeastern Council to include this in the website, and that it will help me to, I think, follow up. That's an idea I'm throwing. But anyway, personally, I will take it up.
Thank you.
But sometimes it happens, it helps to get a letter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bishwajit sir. Manoj sir, we have a few questions from our participants as well. So the first question is, how to maintain our self-motivation in startup journey? Manoj sir?
Yeah. Can you repeat it? I couldn't follow.
Yes, sir. How to maintain our self-motivation in startup journey?
The question is not very clear to me. Hello, because of audio problem.
So the participant wants to know how to maintain one's motivation during the whole journey of undertaking startup.
He's maintain what?
So motivation.
Oh, motivation. Okay,
Yes,
sorry. Motivation. Okay. So I said, like he should be, that need achievement motivation. He has to have that motivation to achieve something, and there will be failures, there will be success. So it will all depend on his mental, I think, makeup, how he wants to propel through that. And of course, there are moments of despair and depression because everything doesn't go well. And in a startup, there's a failure rate is very high. Sometimes it is up to 90%. So motivation, keeping motivation is what I suggested. He should have a group of mentors who will guide him in every steps. He should be able to find out his mentor. Then also there is an angel sometimes somewhere to help an entrepreneur. He has to find that angel. Angels are mostly 3F, we call it: friend, family, and fool. Uh, sorry to use that word, but that is how we say about it. And he has to find out somebody who will be fool to help him. Like he has to have a ecosystem around him to propel his idea to success. And I think he should have a good set of mentors, and that mentors will, at a time of, they will guide him throughout his journey. It should not be his own solitary journey. So it should be mentor led, and then there is success. Chance of success is very high. Like I personally mentored quite a few, and many a time they would like to give up, and then again you have to pull them down out, and I got put on track. And in fact, I am retiring next year, and I am thinking of starting one mentorship society, and already given a name also. It'll be Northeast Entrepreneurs Mentors. So many of you are welcome to join my that movement. And we need a huge mentorship movement in the region, in the country, in fact. Without mentors, one cannot be successful. And when I was about 26 years old, I was working in Hero Honda as a plant engineer. Then I came to start an industry here, and I has made quite a few serious mistakes, because of which I could not become successful despite all support from government. So the mentee should be actually free of ego and complexes, and he should be free to take advice from mentors, and he should identify a good set of mentors and angels who will fund him during this bootstrapping or initial stages. Till seed funding comes, he has to invest a lot of time. Then also like proof of concept, up to proof of concept stage, there is a lot of investment, and he has to be able to sustain himself. Maybe some fellowship will help or something. And our institutions can actually have some yeah, startup fellowships like for 1 year, and at least pay maybe 50,000 just to give him sustenance, so that he can freely work on his idea without worrying about his at least day-to-day maintenance. And just for example, my daughter, she's doing a starting, and she has been given, she got a very prestigious fellowship called Kaman Fellowship from Germany, and they have given her 25,000 euros for 1 year to develop her ideas. So that kind of fellowships we can have in our country, and I see huge potential in our country and our region, and because we are all basically, our society is knowledge led. It was knowledge led only recently in last 5 to 6 decades. We are little wavered. That's but natural. We are developing countries, so we have to experiment with different models. So that's it. I hope I could answer. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. So we have a few more questions. Sir, the next question is, how can we be sure that the idea that we have taken up to market, about its rate of success? What is its rate of success, or how will it work in the market? How can we be sure of that?
Yes, I think that is where Assam Nest and all these organizations, they help. They will do incubation to the ideas. The startup, and at different levels they will assess its market acceptability, then also technological feasibility, viability, all that. So these are startup organizations like Assam Nest for Assam. They are quite useful. Also, we can have find out with some discussions, group discussions, and brainstorming sessions. We can call some people, talk to some people. It has to be actually discussed with people. in the field. Because the person who has the idea, he thinks that his idea is the best. It will be grabbed by the market, which may not be true. He must always have second party, third party opinion about it, and then he'll be able to, I think, make his model successful.
Thank you, sir.
And everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
thank you.
he should be quite open to criticism and also ideas given by others. Sometimes they are really very arrogant, all these our innovators.
So that is true. So we need to be open-minded and accept the things.
Yes, yes.
Want to grow. Yes, that's the main mantra. Okay, so another question we have, it is on role of IIC in law and administration. I think the participant wants to ask, what is the role of IIC in law and administration? The question is not quite clear. I interpret it that way. That so please give us some idea about the role of law and administration. How can IIC be a part of that or contribute there? Manoj sir?
Oh, IIC.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I thought that will be answered by somebody from the IIC.
Okay, okay. So then I'll.
Now, role of law is basically to protect somebody else's property rights, right? Suppose I develop something, somebody will copy it, and they will just deny me my natural rights. So that's why law is there. Law is basically rule accepted by everyone, or it is promulgated by the parliament or by the sovereign authority, so that it becomes binding on everybody. So the law is to basically protect our rights, and there are punishments, there are fines, and there are other things. There's a way of controlling it. Otherwise, everybody will copy everybody. And now of late, I think IPR rules are very, I mean, all over the world, IPR, intellectual property rights are very, I mean, well protected. And I think we have a very good regime now all over the world on that. So I think IIC should help the innovators in filing, and later on, if there is violation, they can point out, they can go to court, or they can, take the help of administration. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Sir, next question, although you have already answered it, but still repetition, like what are participant wants to know, what are the main pillars or qualities we should have to develop ourselves in the startup entrepreneurship journey?
Okay, what are the qualities?
Yes, sir.
Firstly, you must have an innovative mind. And I think day and night, we should think of problems. Like I also think myself an innovator in the sense that I always look for problems in the current system and try to find a solution. And that solution is the innovation. And solution is not very far. It lies somewhere near only. Say, many of us have gone for trekking. If you go in Manali or Kulu area, there is something called Bichuputi, which is like our, in Assam it's called Surat. And near that Bichuputi, you find jungli palak, that is a wild spinach. And if you rub it, that irritation is solved. So that way, if there is a problem, solution is nearby. And we should not try to find that solution somewhere else. You try to find it in the vicinity, it's lying somewhere. Suppose you lost a nut of, your bicycle. It must be somewhere lying nearby only. Just try to find it out. So that way, if there is a problem, solution is everywhere. Like we have a problem at home, if the solution lies at home only. And that is my belief actually. And in all cases, yeah, not only problem, say there is some resource just lying underutilized. So try to find out how can utilize. Say, for example, we have jackfruit. Jackfruit is grown in abundance, and only last year, I think, it got some recognition because once nut was selling for $14 in Amazon. But jackfruit has so many things can be, churned out of jackfruit, like tender jackfruit is vegan meat. Then that pulp can be frozen and exported. I had an from Singapore last year. Then we have the nuts. It's a very high protein, fiber, and other minerals. So we can get the proximate done maybe at Royal University or if I'm having F&B lab and all. So once you find out that, then it's okay. This jackfruit nut has these are, and 45 we can maybe roast nuts. Also, like coffee. Then we can make wine out ripened jackfruit, these bulbs. Right. When I was in I had a jack festival for 2 years. So there we have shown so many products like jackfruit chips. So about 10, 12 products can be from jackfruit chip. Then say we have banana. We have the largest wholesale market of banana in the world in Dorongiri. That's near Boku. Has anybody went and tried to explore it? I don't think not many. So from jackfruit, banana, what you can do? We make banana chips, then banana fiber, and from the pulp we can make vermicompost. Then there is banana alkali, that the coal khar that we have been taking all these Assamese fellows. Kharkwa, government. Just a second, I was at the check toll gate. So that way, and that is innovation. Innovation in ideas, innovation of finding new uses for the product. So it's not that always we make a new machine or new something. That is innovation. Innovative use of also local resources is also innovation. Maybe sometimes we have to design machines useful for them. Like another example, I'll tell you, we have so many. Like we make now blue tea, then purple tea. All these materials are available everywhere in our homestead garden. If we dry them and aggregate them and make a scalable business model, that is innovation. So tulsi patta, then curry patta, or norahinga pat, then aparajita, that flower is a blue tea. I am doing it myself. Then our hibiscus, that I don't know, rosemary, I think, what do you call that? The tengamara. So the tengamara is antioxidant. If we look at our day-to-day things, we can find so many new ideas, new products, and new innovations. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Sir, can we take up one last question?
No problem. I'm sitting in the car. I can answer 10 questions also.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So one last question. It's from a participant. What do you think about the autonomous kitchen? What will it be adopted by Indian people in the future?
Autonomous?
Kitchen.
Autonomous kitchen.
Yes, sir.
Autonomous. See, there is something called art and science. Okay, science is formula based. You put something, something. But art is, doing the same thing in many ways and putting personal touch. So it's something like what analogy I give, like your handloom and branded products. So in the handloom, it is all customized. So I think customization will be always there. But in future, I think automated kitchen, yes, now we have automated roti making machine, and like cloud kitchen we have. So slowly, I think as we become more solitary, the automated kitchens will become successful. Like in myself, if I say I'm in Guwahati, I stay alone. So for me, cooking for one person is not very really viable thing. And slowly, because of working habits and other things, there will be a segment. But in families, of course, there will be always, it will be, I think, a percent of it will be automated. So there is future in that. I won't say it will replace all home cooking, because that is where, uh, I mean, you win the heart through the belly, and for winning the heart through the belly, you should know how to cook. And really, traditional cooking and other cooking cannot be replaced by automated cooking. Certain things will be, of course, uh, standardized and churned out through automatic machine cooking. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So thank you for sparing your valuable time to be here with us virtually today. In spite of your immensely busy schedule, you are also traveling right now. You consented to be with us, you interacted with us, you answered the questions, you interacted with the enthusiastic crowd of students, researchers, and academicians. So thank you, and we bid you goodbye with a hope to see you again in the future, meet you again in the future at Royal Global University. Thank you so much, sir, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All the best.
Thank you, sir. So now we move towards the second half of the program, where we have our second speaker for the Impact Lecture Series organized by Royal IIC, supported by Ministry of Education Innovation Council. Before we begin, let me give a brief introduction about our eminent speaker, Bishwajit Hazarika sir. Bishwajit Hazarika sir has an experience of over 18 years in IT industry. He is an entrepreneur who started the firm called Trans Virtual Private Limited in the year 2002. Subsequently, Trans Virtual has today emerged as the leading IT service company of Northeast India. Since 2002, he is serving as the managing director of Trans Virtual Private Limited. The company started as the first wireless ISP of the region and diversified to premier IT, telecom, network solution, cyber security and cyber forensic, IT, ICT, infrastructure and service provider of Northeastern region. There are more than 100 qualified professionals working in the Trans Virtual team and providing services to the government agencies as well as the individuals all throughout the region. Under the leadership of Bishwajit Hazarika sir, Trans Virtual is growing with every passing day, both in terms of revenue and technical updation as well. Trans Virtual has recently expanded itself in the manufacturing sector and are looking forward for backward integration for raw materials in Assam and Northeast India. Trans Virtual has expanded its operation to pan-India and exploring the business avenues in CLMV countries. So, is also serving as the chairman for two of the government ITIs in Assam in a private-public partnership mode for the development of workshop. Sir is also holding the position of Director Fine Art since the year 2018. At present, Trans Virtual is investing in rural Assam for upliftment of unemployed youths by means of agricultural farming and adopting advanced technologies. We welcome you, sir, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Madam. I think some issues at your end for the network.
So over to you.
Okay, thank you. So quickly we'll touch upon the topic. So I was discussed and I told that I'll cover mostly into entrepreneurship and startup and my ideas and discussions limit to Assam only. So because I'm more cautious about Assam today, every time we can see that the student in Royal Global University or student in IIT or Triple IT or Assam Engineering College, they want to go to Bangalore, they want to go to Hyderabad, they want to go to US because we are backward. So that's what our general feelings. So I just want to go to a little bit of historical approach. So to understand, then build our own confidence as an entrepreneur, entrepreneurial journey. So everybody can see the seed of entrepreneurship in Assam was there. It is there from 1800, but we thought that we are always backward. But there is a historical reason to be backward. So those analyses are required because any ideas comes and any thought process comes, it has some historical background. So if you see from a medieval age, from Ahom times and the modern age as British come to India, so British come to Assam. In 1850, our tea industry has started in Assam. And if you see the tea industry, the technology, then you talk about the labor, the capital, everything coming from outside. So you can say it is a enclave economy kind of a thing where our state, other people are not involved. It's not a very inclusive kind of a development. It was actually developed in isolation. It's a very enclave kind of a economy we have developed with the tea industry. That's why the impact in Assamese people, it was not there. So finally, if you see in the modern era, uh, uh, Assamese people more get into the when they educated in English, they educated with modern education, they get into the legal system, administration, and mostly on to those fields, but not into enterprise. But there are a lot of exceptions also. I mean, I want to give some example, like if you talk about Moriram Dewan, if you talk about Lakshminath Bedpura, if you talk about Bulanath Borua, then there is another example I can give you. In 1915, Mr. Lakshminath Das, his name is not there much, who was a gold medalist from the Presidency College in physics. Then he became a professor in Cotton College. He was actually, after college hours, he always used to busy in chemistry lab, and it was complained. Then the British, they questioned them why he is getting to the chemistry lab. So he was out of the, so he has resigned from Cotton College, and he started his own business ventures. And he used to produce the medicine. So he has a lot of medicine he produced, and he always distributed in rural Assam. So that kind of enterprising journey was there in Assam. The examples are there. And slowly, if you talk about after invent of a lot of business ideas, like some of SMEs also get into tea plantations, but they don't have their own factories because technology transfer was not there. So this technology is a very important part because our education institutions today can play a major role on a technology front. That technology should be infused in the industry, then only industry can grow in a global level. So looking at all these factors, if you see today, we are backward to other part of the country. Is the effort from our side as an entrepreneur. We have a lot of entrepreneurs getting into the market today. We have a lot of ideas, but at the same time, in Assam has a problem. The Assamese has a problem of lack of capitals. So lack of capital is a major issue to get into the ventures. So now being net fee and other financial institutions, so that is helping a lot of youths in the region, but a lot to do because there are venture capital, the startup capital has been formed, so we can go for those things also. But in my personal experience, even in 2002 2003, I got a license for international gateway, and it was a first of this kind in north enter eastern region. But I gone to NetFee. I don't have capital at the time. I didn't have the capital at the time. So then, but NetFee has rejected my idea. So the understanding of getting fund is also very difficult. And if you see the the credit deposit ratio, it is the lowest in the country if you compare Assam. So that's why, I mean, we always insist that banks should be more proactive, financial institutions should be more proactive, then the entrepreneurial journey will be successful in the northeastern region. So looking at this situation, I mean, what we have to think for basically, uh, uh, being a startup ideas today. So I will not talk about the intellectual property right, but I'm talking about the business ideas. There is a market in Northeast as well. So we have a population of around 5 crores. So there is a day-to-day requirement of various products. So today, say as an enterprise, we get into a new ventures for hydrocarbon products. So we are making HDP pipes. So why we making this pipe? Because government is implementing a project for Jal Jeevan. So they want to give the water to every household through pipelines, water pipelines. So those pipes normally coming outside of the regions. There's a lot of transportation costs. So we thought of put a plant. So there are around 4 plants in Northeast today. So we are actually catering the need of the market of this region. So there are two kind of needs in the market. One will be the uh, market within the region, and there can be market outside the region. So we can look about the market in Bangladesh, look at the market in Bhutan, Myanmar, and I've said the CLME countries, and in mainland of India, so that we can export some of our items there. So that's why my question to Manoj Das is that basically we need to have a database like where what kind of development is going on, because enterprise or entrepreneur has to have a linkage with the academia. So academic research is very important because technology is important today. So we have to understand technology, because Assam has a history of exporting raw materials. So if you exporting raw materials, you are not adding any value. So if you don't add any value, you are not getting the price of that product. So today, our idea should be that we have to create value for each product. So we should not be a supplier of a raw material. So if you keep on supplying for a raw material, you are actually not be successful, I mean, as an enterprise in this region. So that should be very important. So to add a value, we need a technology. So technology, who can give technology? Being a technocrat, one can be understanding of technology. That is one idea. And then the universities or the research institution have a research has a linkage with the business ideas. So we can have a technology transfer, or we can have a tie-up with the technology companies outside the region, outside the country, to get a technology transfer. So as a example, like in computer network items like switches and routers. So if you have a tie-up with the big players to get a technology transfer for them, we can develop a product out there. We can actually market the product. So technology transfer is one important thing. First important thing is that you have to have a value addition for every raw material. Then after that, we have to sustain a business model. So the sustainable business model we have to design. Today, if you talk about the startups, like if you talk about the Amazon, today we have a news that in Guwahati, Ola and Uber will not be there. So the vehicles are there, Ola and Uber will not be there. What is the reason? The reason is that Ola Uber is claiming around 30% of their revenue from these drivers, the car owners. So if they share the 30% of the revenue, it's not sustainable for the car owner to sustain under Uber and Ola. So there is a different company is emerging now who is actually asking only 15%. The same crisis we can see in a big names, unicorns. If you talk about like Uber, they are also facing this problem. Swiggy today they charge 30 to 35% from the restaurant. Earlier they used to do the marketing, they give some money back to the consumers, but today they are asking 30 to 35% from the restaurant owners. So restaurant also not happy today. We have a lot of discussion going on, so that if it is reduced to 20%, 15%, so they can sustain. So if it is an e-commerce business model also, so we have to see how long it can sustain. So there are other examples as well. I mean, in the stock market, there's a company called Jarudha. Jarudha is actually developed in Bangalore. The startup is grown up to around 800 crores now in last 3 to 4 years, and they compete with the ICICI. So if you go stock trading through them, their stockbroker charges is less than ICICI. So that is the only point where their business model becomes successful. Constantly do the research and understanding in the market that what kind of business model is going to be successful. It is not about the big capital alone.
Vishwajit sir, sorry to interrupt you. Sir, your volume has become low. Your voice is very low.
Now, am
Yes,
I
sir.
audible?
Yes, sir. Yeah, audible, sir.
Okay, okay. Now, so what I'm saying, like the business model itself is very critical, and business model is very dynamic. So now, when we talk about the startup ideas today in month of October, what you are thinking in November it might change. So we have to change with the changing environment. So to sustain. So I have given an example of Ola Uber today in Guwahati. So the taxi driver and car owner don't want to fly that vehicle on the name on the brand of Ola and Uber because there is obvious reasons. So the everybody when we go for a startup, we have to understand the actual situations in the market, and we have to keep on changing the business model so that it can adapt the situation and it can grow. So constant diversification. In my own experience of last 18 to 19 years, we keep on diversifying on our service and products. So if we don't diversify, we cannot sustain. Like I have started as a first wireless ISP of Northeast. So then in my 2004, 5, 6, 10, 8, I mean, I think I am running on ISP, but slowly I get into the network. So network solution, fees, data security, all these things has come into my portfolio. And because of these things, we can get into new projects. Okay. So slowly diversification, and on the same line of business, if I do, then I can sustain. The whole idea of a startup to be successful is that you have to constantly change your approach so that the market demands you can support, and you can grow accordingly. So that is one ideas. And in startup, I have seen in Assam today, so 99% of the startups are basically for the web applications. So if you go for a web applications, you have to have some ground reality. Like you want to sell eggs, suppose. So if you have a abundant egg, there is a egg produced in Jorhat recently. A small startup, he's producing egg. It's called I forgot the name, and it have a very good taste. So if you do the marketing of that egg, and then you can get a market. But if you don't have an ecosystem, if you don't have a complete value chain, then there is no point of having a web application to sell products. So it is not about the e-commerce alone, but there should be real products on the ground. So in Assam, we need a startup on every field. If you are agriculture products, you produce that. If you have some value addition on the agriculture products, that is there. Then you can have IT technology there. Then you have a complete cycle of e-commerce. So then only it will be sustainable. So that is another thing I want to stress on, that every student, when you go for startup ideas from the college days, then you always go ahead with what is actual requirement in the ground, that you have to understand, and what is actual scenario on the ground. So my request to the institution like Royal Global said, you have to take some case study on some places, locations, that you understand what kind of product can be produced, what kind of value addition is required, what kind of technology is required, and your research should be aligned with those technology or that kind of market. So that is actually the requirement for a startup ecosystem. So the startup ecosystem is very much important. I just want to give a highlight on the startup ecosystem as well as current enterprising situations out here. A lot of new guys are coming up for enterprise, that is very good. And as an entrepreneur, we create opportunity for the others. So today I have an employee of 169. So I have this employee size, and I can grow also further. And there are another person who will be again become an entrepreneur. He can also add value, and he also create opportunities for many. So that's where I can have a more professional society in Assam, so that everybody delivers some value in form of service, in form of enterprise. So this kind of ecosystem is required for a stability of the society. So thank you very much. So that much I can share, and any question comes up, I can share from my experience. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you so much. I request the participants to please send their questions in the Q&A section so that we can take it up and read it out for sir. I request the participants to put their queries, their doubts, any help, any suggestion if you need. If you are thinking of expanding your idea or converting it into entrepreneurial venture, sir is here. You can take his guidance, take his help. So by the time we get questions from the audience, from the participants, so I wanted to know, it's a question from my side. So I wanted to know, how did you overcome the hurdles that you faced in, making your organization grow? All single-handedly. What were the hurdles and how did you overcome that?
So these hurdles of business is everyday problem. So it's everyday problem. So the problem basically about the finance and getting a right manpower. I keep getting the manpower from, say, I said there are a lot of brain drain from Assam. So I need a very highly technical people in my team. So what I do, I remember a few of the case studies. So whenever I'm traveling, say one day I was traveling in a metro in Delhi. So somebody is talking over phone. I could understand that this is an Assamese guy. So I told him, what you do basically. He told me, I am working on so-and-so in Airtel. So I do this. So I told her, are you very happy to be in Delhi or you want to be with your family in Assam? He said, I'll be always happy if I go back to Assam. So I have given my card. I told him that you please come to, if you decide, you come to me. And after 2 years, he called me, then he joined my company and worked at least 8 years with my company then, after that. So I get a lot of people that way, so skilled people. So skilled people is one important thing. And finance, I built up the bank reputation day by day. Then I have a bank limit now. Today I have quite a good bank size of limit I have. So that's how we am developing on our banking. The sincerity on the finance, if you do, you would get a financial linkage. So that is another point. And then the market, you have to have a proper understanding of a market. So you have to see the challenges, what kind of challenges you are facing. So accordingly, we have to equip. So that's how we have to handle the hurdles.
Thank you so much, sir. So it was great to know your experience. Sir, we have a question from a participant. The participant is asking, what is your advice for the future entrepreneurs?
See, the future entrepreneur is first, you be very calculative. You try to understand a subject in details. It's not a fashion to become an entrepreneur, but in real sense, you have to understand the subject first. What is the market demand? What is the market problems and what solution you are offering? And whether this solution is commercially viable or not. That should be the first understanding. For me, I don't have mentors. I don't have mentors till today. So whatever my understanding and observation, accordingly, I am getting to the job and I am successful. So my advice is that you should be confident, you should be determined, and you should understand the technology, and then you get into the job. You'll be successful.
Thank you, sir. So we have another question from a participant. He wants to know about the edutech startups. How feasible are they after the pandemic is over?
If you look for National Education Policy 2020, I have gone through the policy. So there is a lot of stress on ICT, online classes and all, digital library. So online classes today, if you see, there are 40,000 schools in Assam, okay? And there's a lack of good teachers. So there is a concept of e-classrooms. So there is a concept of digital library because there is no uniformity of contents. So all these things is there because the government initiative is there. So I think it will be successful because there are very, very big corporates like Gumbi, which is almost 800 crores company. Then Star Marks, which is almost 2,000 crores of company. So they have developed on edutech technologies only today in India.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we don't have. Okay, so we have one more question. The question from a participant, like many startups can fail at the initial stages. How can we overcome it?
Yeah, a few days back, I supposed to participate a tender for IoT in agriculture. So I have found that one of the company who is a recognized startup is basically they are developing a technology. So they are developing a technology. But when actually we get into the tender, so we need some legal document. We need a PAN card. We need those company registration. But it was not done. I mean, many of the statutory documents are not done. So I think in like Royal Global University, you are going for an incubation center. In incubation, you can actually give a real guidance to them that what are the statutory requirements to have an enterprise. So those documents are very much required initially. Those documents are very much required initially. And apart from that, market understanding of our entrepreneur is very, very important. So if you have a market understanding, you can always successful. And you may not successful in the first tense, then you can go for the next tense. I mean, you have to try and try basically.
So failures are the pillars of success. So we did not stop trying. Yeah, that's true. Thank you, sir. So we don't have any other question coming up.
Dr. Aruna?
Yes, sir. Sir, you have a query?
Sir, yes.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, this is Dr. Shankar Burman. I am working with the IIC-RGU. Sir, actually, nowadays, this new entrepreneur, not entrepreneur, actually, they just started their company and they are coming to our organization to have some facility for their organization. So, sir, in that way, when a new organization come, actually they are just pass out or from the college or something like that. So, sir, for them, what will be the best advice that we can provide them for excel in their sir entrepreneurship? Sir, your expert comment.
For an entrepreneur, so you have to establish a company. That is first criteria. And for startup, there are a lot of funding is there from a government now. So there is a Mudra loan, there is a collateral free loan up to 1 crore from all nationalized bank. It is there. So because the collateral will be the big issue. So without collateral also, you can get a loan of 1 crore from the banks. And then there are startup fund, as Manoj Das already told, that NetFee also have a cap of around 100 crores. So you can submit the ideas out there. But maybe they will select 10 ideas. Maybe another 90 ideas may not be selected, but you need not to be frustrated. But I think if it is a real business model is there, so this can be successful. And I am, as an entrepreneur, I always can give this service to all these your students also. That will be my pleasure. So we can actually give some ideas time to time as looking at the business model.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll definitely be in contact with you for this purpose.
Thank you.
I can see Shravan Goenka sir's hand raised in the panelist box. Goenka sir, do you have a question or a query?
No, ma'am. No.
Okay. That was a mistake. No issues. Okay, so thank you so much, sir. We don't have other queries. Okay, so one last question can we take up? Vishwajit sir, can you take up one last question?
Yes.
So the question is how to develop a good business plan.
How to develop a good business plan. First, you have to understand your product and service, what problem you are solving basically. The market has problems, so market needs something. Like today, I'm talking about Uber and Ola is going out of Guwahati market, so somebody has to be there because they have a 7,000 to 8,000 vehicles. So they need a system because people are habituated to book a online cabs. So that is a gap. So you have to understand where is the requirement. The first you have to understand the problem and what you are offering. So today you are saying to buy by Ola and Uber, but then you have to tell that car driver or the owner that will charge 15% from the say 100 rupees for a ride, and out of that I'm taking 15 rupees or 20 rupees because Ola or Uber is making taking more money. I mean, compared to your business model, and in that 15 rupees, whether you are sustainable, whether you can pay salary for your system, whether you can pay for the cloud services, pay for the softwares. So you have to understand everything. So your calculation should be correct. Your business model, when you design, what is your costing and what is market looking for. So these two things, if you clear, I mean, then I think it will be successful. You have to be very competitive. That is very much required. Being a startup, you have to be competitive. Being a big company, also be competitive. People are looking for the price because we are in a price sensitive market.
Thank you, sir. So thank you for your valuable time. In spite of your busy schedule, you managed to be here with us, and you also answered the queries. So a formal vote of thanks. A big thank you to our Honorable Vice Chancellor in absentia, who could not be here with us due to some family emergency, but he conveyed his best wishes to us. We are also thankful to our Chairperson Academics, Professor Dr. Alok Kumar Buraghwai sir, for sparing his time. Our heartfelt gratitude to our respected speakers of the day, Mr. Manoj K. Das in absentia, and Mr. Vishwajit Hazarika sir for managing their time to be here with us today. All our participants present from Pan India, thank you for being such an enthusiastic and inquisitive audience all throughout the session. Our second Impact Lecture Series is scheduled on 14th of October 2021. Where we have two more speakers who will enlighten us with their experience in practical field. So now, looking forward for your kind cooperation and participation in the second session as well. We will send the invitation link and registration link for all the participants who joined us today. There is an important announcement regarding the distribution of e-certificates. It will be provided at the end of the at the last session of the Impact Lecture Series to be held on 14th of October. So I request all the participants to make it convenient to be present in the second and the last session of the Impact Lecture Series organized by Royal IIC. Thank you all. Thank you and have a nice day.